I'd like to welcome in retired Lieutenant Colonel Jonathan Conricus, former IDF spokesman and senior fellow at the FDD and co-founder of the Bottom Line Media. It's so great to see you. Such a momentous, historic day. What is going through your mind right now, Lieutenant Colonel?
Well, good night to you and a great morning from Israel. It's electric, I would say. 2 years of bottled up emotions for the hostage families, for the general Israeli population, are now starting to erupt in what I think are spontaneous, beautiful displays of joy and relief and happiness. So far, we have 7 Israelis, 7 out of the 20 live hostages have been confirmed that they're in the hands of the IDF. The preliminary medical assessment is that they are relatively okay. They're walking by themselves, so that's already a good sign. I don't know anything further than that, but relatively positive. And soon, I think within a matter of half an hour, they will be able to see their family for the first time in 2 years of Hamas captivity. So a good day, good start, very hopeful. And I hope that it'll be the sign of a positive thing to change here.
Absolutely. So the first 7 of the 20 still living hostages, Lieutenant Colonel, do we know how the remaining 13 will be released?
Yeah, we have a good idea of it. The first hostages were released in the northern part of the Gaza Strip, and then there's going to be another release in the central part, and then a last release from the southern part, from Khan Yunis. And the next release is planned in approximately 55 minutes, so that'll be 10 a.m. local time. And then a few hours after that will be the last release, and in total 20. And then we should anticipate also to get the bodies, the remains, 28 bodies of murdered Israeli hostages that are also supposed to be returned. And here I think that we'll see some challenges because Hamas has indicated that they claim that they don't have all of the bodies, and we'll have to actively look for them together with Qatar, the Egyptians, the Turks, and Hamas, and that's going to be an interesting development. But we're focusing now on getting the live hostages, and it looks as if Hamas will, at least this part of the deal, they will do it, and we will get all of our 20 live hostages back.
That is wonderful. How then, Lieutenant Colonel, will the Palestinian prisoners and those detainees, how is this exchange going to work?
Yeah, sadly, Israel has been forced to release convicted terrorists with lots of blood on their hands, mostly Israeli blood, but American and Palestinian blood as well. 250 serial repeat heavy offenders with many life sentences, each one of them. They are going to be released. They already have been processed and they're ready. And the moment that the last Israeli live hostage is confirmed well and live in Israeli hands, then the authorization will be given. They're already ready in the facilities, in a jail facility called Ofer, not far from Jerusalem. And they will board buses of the Red Cross, and then they will start the journey, which will take around an hour and a half from the Jerusalem area to Gaza, where they will enter the Gaza Strip and get back. And we're talking about a total of almost 1,700 terrorists, 250 of them very heavy offenders, and then the rest will be other terrorists that have been apprehended during the fighting. That's not a good thing because these people will not join the Peace Corps and they are not going to be peaceful citizens. They will probably go back to what they've done before, and that is to try to kill Jews. And if they do, they will be swiftly taken care of, hopefully in a definitive way. But unfortunately, they are going to see freedom, even though many of them killed dozens of people. And so that's kind of a bitter pill that we have to swallow. But at the end of the day, we're getting our hostages back, and that is a positive thing.
And Lieutenant Colonel, are you confident? Do you think this peace deal will hold? This will last?
Well, actually, I don't call it a peace deal. I know that I may anger a few people in the administration. I'll take that risk. Currently, what we have is a ceasefire. If Hamas continues to implement the deal, which is to disarm of all of their weapons and to relinquish control over the Gaza Strip and to allow that board of peace that the president has spoken about to actually assume control over the Gaza Strip, then that'll work us more towards something that we can call peace. Currently, what we have is ceasefire, and I am really concerned that Hamas will not relinquish their weapons and that they will stubbornly hold on and continue to occupy and control the Gaza Strip, much to the detriment of Palestinian civilians living there. So I hope that won't be the case, but if it will be the case, then I'll inform everybody here watching that the IDF, the Israeli Defense Forces, will be ready to continue to fight against Hamas if that is what it'll come to. I hope it doesn't. But if Hamas implement the deal, President Trump's deal, this could be a peace deal. If they don't, then we'll have to go back to the horrible reality that we've been facing for the last 2 years.
Yeah, and I do feel that there is still so much uncertainty on both sides. As you said, this right now is a ceasefire. Obviously, everybody, the entire world is hoping for peace. Lieutenant Colonel, what was different this time? What do you think finally made the two sides find some common ground, however precarious that ground may still be?
Yeah, there are many reasons, but I think the focal one, the real ingredient that really tipped the scales here was President Trump, his team, his ability to get Arab nations on board, Hamas supporting nations like Qatar, Egypt, and Turkey, who are bedfellows and supporters of Hamas. And President Trump and his talented team of diplomats got them on board to say, we need this war to end, we need Hamas to hand over the hostages, and we need Hamas to disarm. Once those conditions were met, that really was what changed the situation. And as Israelis have been saying, I've been saying it for 2 years, and Israeli leaders have been saying it, if Hamas hands over the hostages and puts down their weapons, the war ends. It's not about ethnic cleansing. It's not about any, ulterior motive. This is a defensive war that was forced upon Israel that can end the moment that Hamas hands over hostages and disarms. And once President Trump and his team were able to create that diplomatic environment, that was the game changer. And I'm really hopeful that we will see this grow into really a peace deal. I hope that President Trump, when he goes to Sharm el-Sheikh, will be able to cobble together a strong coalition of Arab countries, European countries, and of course with Israeli support, and that there really will be a transition of governance in Gaza. And, time here is of the essence. If it happens quickly, swiftly, and almost seamlessly, then there is a chance for a better future in Gaza. If it takes time and wobbles, then Hamas will try to use that uncertainty, and we will see horrible things. By the way, Hamas is already executing people on the streets. They're settling scores with families and dissidents and people that dared criticize Hamas during the war. They've done so publicly in the corner of streets. So that is what we have in store for Gaza, unless Hamas is dismantled, and I really hope that they will be, for our sake, but also for the sake of people in Gaza.
And we're taking a live look there, a Red Cross helicopter there, as these 7 hostages are being released. Hamas has handed them over to the Red Cross. Just a moment ago, we were seeing the faces of some of those hostages that coming from a post from Israel's foreign ministry. Lieutenant Colonel, what do you think we will hear today from both President Trump and Prime Minister Netanyahu when we hear them speak in a few hours?
Well, I think that the president will explain to the Israeli public how happy he is that he and his team have brought about what he would call peace. We've discussed whether it's a ceasefire or peace, but I think that's what the president will speak about. And I think the president will tell Israelis how much he cares about Israel, its security, its people, its future, how happy he is for the families that the hostages are back. And this is, I think, very credible because you can see how real and authentic and personal his connection with the hostages families are. He has seen more hostage families than I think the Israeli prime minister has, and that's saying a lot. The most busy and powerful leader in the world has had hostage families in the White House, has really listened to them, and you can see Israelis respond to that. There's tremendous outpouring of love towards the president. It crosses political divides in Israel, and I think that's beautiful. So he will carry that momentum, and I think he will tell Israelis, allow me to lead, and let's unlock future possibilities for the benefit of the region. Let's do more peace. Let's do peace with the Saudis, and let's do peace with the Syrians, and let's have more Muslim countries join in. And I think his message will be one of a peacemaker and of prosperity and a future that is better for the region. And then in Sharm el-Sheikh, he will speak to the Arabs, and he will try to get additional Arab forces and Arab countries on board. And I'm not a rosy-eyed optimist. Usually, I'm a realist and a military man. But I think with President Trump's special style of leadership, with his diplomacy, and the fact that through his power and specific personal standing, he's been able to build this coalition, I think that there's a chance for positive things to happen on a large scale. As an Israeli, I hope that'll be the case, and I think it'll be great for American standing globally. I think it will prevent other wars from escalating, and I think it will send a positive message throughout the world that deals can be made, wars can be stopped, and that if people come together, then there could be positive consequences led by the United States of America, and I think that's a very important message.
It is IDF spokesman, retired Lieutenant Colonel Jonathan Conricus. Thank you for giving us some of your time again on what is truly a historic day. Thank you, sir.